Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. And in today's video, I decided we should take a little trip down memory lane. And in honour of the recent treatment of the player base from TOPJOYS, I thought it would be a good idea to basically visit the TOPJOYS Hall of Shame. That's right, the TOPJOYS Hall of Shame, because so many people might not actually be aware of why this is such a big deal, why TOPJOYS' current treatment of the player base actually matters. And the way I'm going to do that is by today actually opening up the TOPJOYS Hall of Shame, revealing everything that they have done, everything that they have done to let down the players, to ignore the players, to not respect the players, and hopefully it will be enough to nudge them in the direction of not putting another entry into that hall. So, where do we start? Well, technically speaking, the very first issue was actually, a lot of people forget about this, was actually this. Fashion Sakura. Fashion Sakura was the first purchasable unit in the game. Some people will say it was Honda. It wasn't Honda because you didn't buy Honda, you got Honda as a sort of a reward for spending a certain amount of money. Sakura was the first actual purchasable unit, and she didn't work properly. I can't remember exactly what was wrong with her. I think it was something to do with her, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was one of these skills. Maybe it was a passive. I honestly can't remember. But there was something to do with Sakura. She didn't work properly. They took months and months and months to fix it. Paid unit. What did they do about it? Nothing. Nothing. They eventually fixed her quietly. They didn't give anyone compensation that had spent money on the unit. The fact the unit was broken. So, Sakura is our first entry in the Hall of Shame. I don't think she would quite go towards the top, and honestly, to save a lot of time, there has been various broken units throughout the game, some worse than others, and one of them will get their very own entry, who we'll talk about later. But even as recently as Guile, when Guile launched, he was broken, maybe for about a week or so. Standard practice in games, if a unit is broken, you acknowledge it, you say we'll fix it, and you give compensation. It's just what you do, right? Especially if a unit's paid. And off the top of my head, I can think of units like Gen, Taoist Gen, loads. Honestly, just trying to remember them all right now, there's just far too many. Some have been broken for months, some remain broken, like Bison, the new Bison. He still doesn't work properly, he's still got bugs. We've got Kami, as in Banquet Kami, we've got Baddest Jury. They still remain broken, right? And they won't do anything. They'll quietly fix them, and they will not do anything about them, okay? Now, the first big issue. To be honest, this issue is probably bigger than the current issue, okay? But the first big issue, many of you will know, because it might be why some of you actually know me, and it might also be why some of you actually hate me. But it is this guy here. Monster Hunter Ken. For those of you that do not know, Monster Hunter Ken, upon release, was essentially rate manipulated, is the best way to put it. Rate manipulated. His banner had scripted pulls, okay, where basically you could not pull the unit before a certain amount of summons. You would pull the unit specifically on a certain summon, which was summon number 13, okay? And after that, you would not pull this unit again until you had gone another 50 or 60 summons. It just depended. There was like two different kind of routes that you could go down. This was in the first 24 hours. Now, I exposed this. It was me. Yes, it was me. It was Hayzink. I was the one that done it. I exposed this. I actually went on to videos with people blind, and I said, do this and I'm going to tell you right now what's going to happen with your summons, and it happened, it played out. Other people jumped on, they seen this, they confirmed this, they validated this, and yes, there was definitely rate rigging, there was definitely scripted pulls going on within the game. stealthily and quietly, TOPJOY went into the game and they stealth patched it, okay? They tried to act like they didn't do it, but we all seen it happening, okay? Now, if you guys don't know, when you load up the game will sometimes have that little bar and it'll say downloading data, oof. Sometimes you get these little micro downloads, that's like them stealthily putting little fixes into the game, hot fixes, bug fixes, that type of thing, okay? After they did this, everything changed, okay? No one was getting summons at the same way as the rate fixing, as in the scripted pulls. It went away. Right? And honestly speaking, in some regards, it actually got worse, okay? But the manipulation, at least as far as we know, vanished because people were not getting the hits on the exact same points as they were getting the hits previously, okay? Now, some people have said that it was soft pity, blah blah blah. It wasn't, right? It wasn't. Now, the one thing that ultimately this could have done, now bear in mind, they did not at all acknowledge this. They didn't apologise for it because they didn't admit it happened. They denied it happened. So why would they apologise? Why would they apologise for something that they claim didn't exist? We imagined it. It was all in our heads. You can just go and Google this. You can go on YouTube, search this. There's too much evidence from the first 24 hours that backs up everything, okay? I've got a detailed video if you want to check it out. It's old now, but the information there is still absolutely valid. But after that, a lot of things changed, okay? And it's widely believed, now this is more speculation rather than evidence, okay? But it's widely believed that after they changed that, they changed everything about the summoning system. Because through discussions when we were speaking, there was a lot of these same patterns that happened in the divination pool, okay? You used to go no more than 6 units without pulling. It was something that was actually pretty much almost guaranteed. It was almost like it had pity, okay? Which would not have been unusual because this game did copy the AFK Arena formula, and with AFK Arena, your standard banner has 3 summon pity, which obviously we still have, and your equivalent of divination and your equivalent of special summon, they have 6 summon pity. And we used to have that type of thing, but after I exposed them, that went away, hence the whole thing of Hayzink cost the community pity in the game. Now, the wide belief, and this belief actually still exists, okay? Now, there's a few people that think this way, and they might actually come out and say it after I put this video out, okay? But some people don't necessarily like things about TOPJOY being exposed because they actually think TOPJOY are petty. And TOPJOY literally make changes within the game to spite the player base, okay? Like, for example, getting called out about Ken. After that happened, they objectively made the whole summoning system worse. And it was almost like, some people took that as it's almost like us being punished for speaking up, okay? It's the same thing when, if you think a unit has been revealed, i.e. Yakuza Ken, stuff like that, almost as if to spite the community, they just delay the unit. They make it take longer because they think, oh, they've figured this out, we're not going to give them that now, we'll just change it. Okay, so some people do have that belief, and the reason they have that belief is because of things like this, okay? They absolutely made things worse, okay? Now, after this, people just accepted it. A lot of people left, there was a lot of refunding, and we lost a lot of players, straight up, because some players who said, that's it, I'm not going to support this game anymore, this is scandalous, they stuck to their guns and they left. And I would say that this was probably the biggest, most significant thing that's ever happened in Street Fighter Duel, and in some regards it never developed the amount of players it could have developed, probably as a result of this, mixed in with using limited time currency straight away. It was a bit too soon for that. That also rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now, there was a lot of smaller issues that happened, and those smaller issues, can't remember them all, to be honest. Like, honest to God, I can't remember them all to put them in there. But mainly you're talking about bugged units. Bugged units was something that would significantly happen on a constant basis. We would get units who didn't work, units we would wait for far too long to get worked, just all of these different issues. But the next big thing that kind of stands out to me, again, not talking about pushing to get things like Summer Yun changed, things to get Athlete Chun-Li changed, stuff like that, right? We're not talking about that type of stuff. The next big significant thing that happened was... I've gone to the wrong place. I always do this. This right here. Vigilante. Now, Vigilante was actually a huge deal. No one cared though, right? I just need to point that out. No one cared. Well, people did care. People complained about this for 6 months. People told them. Now, I don't know how it took me 6 months to find out about this. It wasn't until another member actually said to me, when I was saying how Vigilante gives me speed, they're like, no, it doesn't. Do you not know that Vigilante doesn't work? And I didn't know, because I was using it just thinking that it did work. But Vigilante, where it says speed 8, it does work now. It didn't work. From the day it was launched until essentially I made a video putting them on blast, this did not work, okay? It did not give you speed. People reported it. People got acknowledgement that their report had been made, and they had got acknowledgement that it had been passed to the developers. So the developers knew that it did not work. Now, the significant thing about Vigilante is you buy Vigilante for one reason. Speed. Okay, that's it. People who buy Vigilante buy it for speed. They don't care about the other things. It's an EX move for speed. That is why it was bought, okay? And although you can get it free to play, which is a very lengthy process, people were spending £20 per week to purchase this, okay? And at that rate, I think it takes something like in the region of 260 to 360, somewhere in that bracket, pounds, dollars, to actually get this to 5 stars, and lots of people done that. And it was basically knowingly being sold while not working, right? That is the definition of false advertising. Like, flat out it is. If they are saying that if you buy this, you will get X amount of speed, and you don't, then that item you are buying is falsely being sold to you, okay? And I put them on blast and I called them scammers, because they knew about it and they done nothing about it, okay? After I called them scammers, they stealth patched it within about a week, finally fixing it, finally giving people access to Vigilante doing the speed. Now that's not what gets them put into the Hall of Shame. Just like the issue with Gore Malagia Ken. The actual thing they did was scummy, and with Gore Ken, yeah, it was scummy. That probably would have put it into the Hall of Shame. But just fixing it, trying to walk away whistling like, I never did anything. What are you talking about? There was nothing wrong in the first place, so why would we apologise? They done that here. They went into the game, they stealth patched it, they never even acknowledged there ever was an issue, they never said sorry. And the reason they did that is because if they admitted there was an issue, they would have had to have compensated for it, because it was a paid item, okay? But they didn't. They just acted like, nothing to see here, move along, right? And this was fixed, and in no way did they accept responsibility, in no way did they compensate players who had spent money and for 6 months not had the item doing what they paid for it to do. They did absolutely nothing about it. And unfortunately, because it only affected spending players, not very many people cared. I tried, it didn't land. People didn't really make as much of a noise as they should have. And that's what we were left with. A company who is willing just to go in and stealthily patch things, not say anything, not compensate people who rightfully should be compensated. Now, the other one that you guys will probably be aware of, that some of you will be far more aware of than this, but again, it didn't get the same traction because it was a paid unit. I've said this before. Unfortunately, things are very much, if it doesn't affect you, you don't care. It's called apathy, and a lot of people have apathy towards issues that they perceive as being whale issues, okay? And one such issue would revolve around this character. Now, I'm sure we all know about Agent Viper. Some people may have differing points of view on this. In fact, I know people have differing points of view on this, okay? We won't even get into the fact that I put out a video showing what she was doing and it was promoted by the official Twitter. That could have been a mistake on an individual basis by a person. So let's remove that, okay? Let's remove that. What do we have within the game to use to judge units? The trial realm. Now, it's not a good place. As a content creator, as a player, I'll tell you, it's not a good place to actually judge a unit, but it's the only place that you as a player have to judge a unit, okay? So in that trial realm, you use this unit and you basically seen that she could be insane, okay? You've seen these other players. In fact, you know what? Actually, this trial realm is probably a bad place. Trial realm is probably a bad place. Yeah, okay. You relied on other people. Like, ultimately, that's what it is, right? Because the bug was basically tied to her being in tag, right? We now know that. But you basically, that was it. That was your exposure to it, okay? You've seen this unit being able to endlessly do these super attacks. I thought that the unit was being cleansed. I'll hold my hands up. I genuinely thought, if you go and look at my videos when I was doing it, I was using Rose. Diviner Rose. She was my unit that I was using, and I was using her because she cleanses debuffs, okay? And I thought what was happening was they were debuff cleansing this unit, and that's how you were able to endlessly do it with her. And the reason that I thought that is because when I changed my team composition and I didn't use Rose, I used someone else, it wasn't happening. Now, I didn't realise at that point that the thing that was making it not happen was the fact that I was moving Viper from tag into the main team, okay? I didn't put two and two together at that point. I thought taking off the debuff cleanser is what's causing this to happen. But the long and short of it is, due to her bug, okay, she was being sold in a state for 2 weeks, I believe. They didn't even acknowledge it. But for 2 weeks, she was being sold in a state where she was not performing as she should perform. She was performing vastly beyond anyone's expectation of her, okay? And people did, undeniably, make that purchase based on that bug, okay? Now, by all rights, at least from a technicality point of view, you could claim that's false advertising, okay? Because it is, right? And what they should have done was offered a refund. If they weren't going to make the unit do what she was doing at that point, they should have at least offered a refund. Now, players would not have to take them up on it, but they should have offered a refund. Instead, they didn't. They made us go through actual, I don't want to say hell because that's a massive over-exaggeration, but they made us go through far too much work. Constant posts, me having to make multiple videos, getting the community to go and do something. They ignored that. Literally, if it wasn't for the fact that some individuals happened to share that they had been given compensation for it, and then I could piece together that, wait a minute, what links these two players? They contacted customer service. We then found out, because I did it myself and then I got compensation, that they were selectively handing out compensation. I exposed that. Then that was it. They made a company-wide decision to compensate for Viper, and it was pretty damn poor, right? Ultimately, it was pretty damn poor. And while I don't think you can quite say that that's on the level of those other issues, because those other issues they ignored. They acted like they never happened. They didn't do that for Viper, they just gave seriously inadequate compensation, okay? It just did not meet the standard that it should have met for the issue that was at hand. Which then brings us to the most recent issue. And this is the most widespread issue, to a certain extent anyway. I mean, I guess you could maybe argue that Monster Hunter Ken, especially if the fallout from Monster Hunter Ken was like for them to significantly alter everything in the game going forward with regards to pools, you could argue he was the most significant, but this one is definitely up there. They're just essentially deciding that, you know what, we're just going to draw a line under it. We are going to just say that, you know what, we've done what we're going to do. You're not going to see any more from this. You will be happy about it. If you're not happy about it, I mean, I would love to know what their outcome is, because generally, if you're not happy with it, you either stop. I mean, you look at it in terms of a store. If you go to a store and you're not happy with the customer service in a store, if you're not happy with the product sold to you in the store, if you're not happy in the fact that you go through a checkout and you purchase one thing, and then the person directly behind you in the queue purchases the exact same thing, and they're given twice the amount of that thing for the same money, you wouldn't be happy about it. And if the company themselves were not willing to do anything about it, you would not go back to that shop. So the only outcome here would be either accept what they're telling you or quit. And I don't want people to quit, but I also don't want people just to accept that they're done, you know? Because while I think they could maybe argue the technicality that yes, they have addressed this situation inadequately, they have addressed it though, right? But what they've not addressed, however they try and paint this, what they've not addressed is they have not addressed and they have not confirmed to us why people who purchased this, they decided to go ahead and just toss them an extra starlight on top for every single one. It makes no sense whatsoever that they have compensated someone for a non-issue and then virtually not compensated people for an actual issue. That is what the problem is. That is what they're ignoring. So when they turn around and say, we've heard what you've said, we understand, unfortunately. Well, no, clearly you don't understand, because one, you've not taken responsibility, two, you've not apologised, and three, you have not at all dealt with the issue. The issue was an issue that you created when you tried to deal with this issue. Okay? They're two different issues. The first issue was doing this in the first place. Okay? And then the second issue came about when you issued compensation for this. If you had not done what you did over here, that second issue wouldn't exist. It would just be a case of you gave shit compensation for this. Okay? But the fact that you went ahead and done that over there, you then created this double standard, this double discrepancy, this unfair treatment for half your player base. All your player base. Because the thing is, the people who bought this, if you had not given them Starlight, but you had done it over here, they would have got Starlight. There was no need to do it. You could have just actually resolved the issue in a way that mattered. So, TOPJOY, you do not have a good track record. You do not. You do not. You took an issue that could tank a game. Like, actually tank a game. False selling. Rigged pools. And you ignored that. You then sold items that did not do as they were supposed to do. You had the knowledge that this was the case, and you persisted to do it for 6 months. For 6 months! Until I come along and I actually made a video downright calling you scammers. Okay? People within the company claim videos I've made make no difference. Okay? They might not. But 24 hours after I called them out for Monster Hunter Ken, they changed it. Within a week of me exposing them for Vigilante and the fact that they knew about Vigilante, they done something about it. After I told the community to go ahead and start doing this to customer services, they went ahead and done something for it. Now, I'm not saying that I directly did that, right? That's not what I'm saying, right? But it's kind of strange, the coincidence that's happening there. So I'm here now, making this video in the hope that TOPJOYS see this. And to all the players out there who might not actually understand why I get so pissed off about this company, because I like this game, right? Most people would have quit by now. I must be some kind of sadist who enjoys torturing myself because I know the way that they treat me as a player is shit. I know the way they treat content creators is shit, okay? The fact is, there's a very strong possibility that a content creator program that they were doing was cancelled because I called them out over Viper. That's wrong, right? That's not... I would not have had to call them out if they actually just listened to things that were being said to them, right? Now, I'm here. I'm telling you just now, TOPJOYS, some of your biggest whales are done. They're done. They are done. They don't want to spend anymore. And if they stick to that, they'll quit. That's what will happen. They'll quit, okay? And your player numbers are going to dip. Your revenue's going to dip. If you look at when you've had major issues in this game, there's a lot of silent people who just quit. You'll notice that month on month, apart from the turtles, month on month, revenue would decline, player engagement would decline, player numbers would decline, players on Discord would decline, views on people like me and other content creators, YouTubes would decline, because less people are looking for the content, because less people are playing the game. You, TOPJOY, are directly responsible for this, because you treat your player base like they do not matter, okay? And at the end of the day, I get that you're a business and all that matters to you at the end of the day is making money. But if you've somehow in your head forgotten that the key element to making money is needing customers and needing customers who are willing to spend that money, then I'm trying to give you a wake-up call just now, because by actually sorting this issue, by actually making this right, by responding in the correct way, which you've not even done verbally, right? You've not done it. By actually giving adequate compensation, I can't say what that is. I know what I think it should be, but I would like to see what you actually come up with. But literally by doing that, you are ensuring that you're still going to have players who will spend money, who will stick around, who will keep playing. But instead, you've cultivated this situation that basically boils down to people just not wanting to play your game. They want to quit. They don't want to spend. They're sick and tired of you. They think you don't care about them as players. And ultimately, they're right. They've always been right. You've never shown that you care about players. All you've shown that you care about is making a Pokemon game and a Street Fighter skin. You don't want to make content. You don't want to make engaging new modes. You don't want to fix bugs in a quick and timely manner. You just want to churn out the next unit that can make you money. And so far, that's worked for you. But now, you're facing D-Day, you're facing Death Day, you're speedrunning EOS. I can use all the memes in the world, but ultimately, this is the biggest threat now to the survival of this game, because if you do not make money, you're just going to shut the game down. And it's not only global players that have noticed this. SEA players have also been commenting, saying that, yeah, this shows us that they don't care about customers. So we know if we get issues, this is what's going to happen. You basically have the stage. You have the spotlight shining on you, and you can either crumble in front of everyone while they're watching and just allow this game to go down the toilet, or you can fix it. You've still got time to fix it. Because as it stands right now, you haven't even understood the issue. Instead, you've given us tokenism statements like, we appreciate your feedback. We love the fact that you're passionate about our game. None of this is true. None of this is true. Because if you did appreciate our feedback, you would at least understand what we're saying. But instead, no, you're having the community manager come out, feed us bad news, stepping back, and hopefully what happened every other time, the community will just back down. I don't think that's going to happen this time, and I don't think it should happen. Just look at what's come before, and look at what happens if you just let things go. Ken, Vigilante, multiple units being broken. There's just so much. There's so much. People praise TOPJOY now for not screwing up. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten. They actually say the devs are doing things well. The devs are improving. And then when you look at what it is they're saying, They're talking about the fact that they've not screwed up. That's the improvement. They've not screwed up. They've not made anything better. They've just not screwed up. Now, how Stockholm Syndrome is the players at that point if simply not screwing up is enough for you to praise this company? No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And ultimately, like I said, even though I've been on for 30 minutes and I'm going to stop, they are going to kill this game. That may well be their plan. I don't know. Right? This is the perfect scapegoat now, if that is their plan. But to you, TOPJOY, I say, like I said in my post, you have absolutely no regards from me. I do not respect you as a company because you don't respect me as a player. You don't. All you respect is my money, other people's money, and it's not happening anymore. Enough is enough. You're not getting it. It's done. And honestly, it's about time you actually are held to account. And that's it. We're paying customers. And at the end of the day, we should expect better. All these people that say that we are just being big crybabies. No, we're not. Ultimately, we're not. You would not accept this from any other business and any other product anywhere. So why do we accept it from gacha games like this? Anyway, I've been Hayzink. Rant over. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.